Hello and welcome to episode 124 of Things I've Learned from Barry Harris. And today I thought we would talk about, there's a specific movement in the blues that is very common in a lot of other songs. And I've been looking at it a lot lately and seeing how many variations you can come up with, and it's really special. The part is, let's say, in the 7th and 8th bar of a blues. So normal blues in B flat, let's say we have B flat 7, E flat 7, B flat 7 up and down. That's the first 4 bars. Now the 5th and 6th bar is going to be E flat 7 up and down. And then Barry has for the, so that's the 5th and 6th bar. Now the 7th and 8th bar is going to be B flat major up and down to the 3rd G. And then it says F7 up and down, and then B flat up, F7 up. But we're going to take this 7th and 8th bar of B flat major up and down to the 3rd G. I've been looking at this one little particular spot where we could say it's like B flat major, and then some people play D minor to G7, going to C minor. So B ba da ba da ba E ba dee da dee da da. That works perfectly. But that doesn't always have to be G7. Sometimes that can be D da dee da da ba dee da E da dee do A. It can be C sharp minor. So D minor to C sharp minor. Sometimes it can be da ba do ba da ba dee da D minor to C sharp 7 or D flat 7. Going to C minor. Sometimes it can be D da da bu E da dee da dee do A da dee da. Wait. No, the other diminished. Dee da dee boo. So it can be. So each time I'm doing something different. One time I did D minor to C sharp minor or D flat minor. One time I did D minor to D flat 7. And one time I did D minor to D flat diminished. They all go to 2. Every one of those. So the D minor to G7 goes to 2. The D minor to D7 tritone. D flat 7 goes to the C minor. The D minor to C sharp minor or D flat minor goes to C minor. So we play, when we chord, we do this all the time. Or we'll play. Or we'll play. We do all 3 of those. So what's funny is that D flat or that C sharp can either be dominant, it can be minor, or it can be diminished. So if you think about making up lines for that spot, like we were doing this just to scale up and down. That was nice. That I turned it into D flat 7. So I'll try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Maybe I'll make. That time I put in 1/2 step between the 3rd and the 2nd of the D flat, and I came down a chord from the 2nd of the D flat. So let's see. That's a pretty phrase. That was treating it like a D flat 7. I'll do another one. Maybe I'll say. That time I just came down a D flat major arpeggio because that's one of the important arpeggios of a dominant chord on the root. How about if I did, let me change the first part. Instead of saying, maybe we'll do a triad up. Okay, let's try that. So we're going to do a triad up from the root. And then we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 5 of E flat. So we'll say, That time I did D minor, and then I played C sharp minor arpeggio down. Ended on C minor arpeggio. So let's try that one again. So we'll say E flat 7. Here's B flat. And this time, let me make the D flat. I'll make it the D flat 7. So let's see. That was just coming down D flat. I could have come down D flat major. So That's a nice one. Now let me hear what diminished sounds like. Ah. I like the diminished one. I mean, that is a beautiful phrase. I like that. Love that stuff. So isn't that wild that you can make this C sharp or D flat, you can make it either minor, you can make it dominant, or you can make it diminished. And it all goes to the next C minor. Every one of those. So it really makes you see the blues, like if we're playing a blues, you try to do, let's see, from the beginning. That was a nice one right there. So the idea is, see, and this goes back to when Barry talked about playing Coleman Hawkins, and Coleman Hawkins said, I don't play chords, I play movement. This is what I'm assuming this is what he was talking about, where he's talking about going from this chord to this chord. Barry would refer to that as a movement. So in this instance, we're going from B flat major to either C sharp minor or D flat minor, or D flat 7, or D flat diminished. So those are three movements: B flat major to D flat minor, or B flat major to D flat 7, or B flat major to D flat diminished. Those are three different movements, but they all work in the same spot. And it's just great. So you have to figure out, okay, that's what practicing is. See, what learning how to improvise is, this is what I'm starting to discover, is after all these years of like really thinking about it, is you have to learn how to play from this chord to this chord. That's the whole ball game. This chord to this chord. That's a movement. And the one that's going to be the best, Barry used to say this all the time. He would say, the one that's going to be the best is the one that knows how to do all these little small things, but can do a million of them. That's the one that's going to be the best. So that's what I'm striving for, and I hope that's what the channel kind of gives you inspiration to do. To sit there and try to come up with, like, okay, if I started on B flat, if I started on tonic and ran up to the 3, or maybe the 4. That time I went all the way, I got down to what would be the flat 7th of the F sharp 7, or I'm sorry, the minor 3rd of the C sharp minor. So I said 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a nice one. So again, take from the E flat 7. Now. I mean, that's pretty stuff. Or I could try to practice that same phrase. Now, what do we say? We could make this diminished. So let's do that. So let's see. That's the diminished. That's a nice one. What's the one that we missed? The one that we missed is, because obviously you can't use that for D flat 7. But I want to use a D flat 7, so let's say. I like that. That's, again, down from the 2nd of the D flat 7, down a chord from the 2nd. I mean, this stuff is just beautiful. So think about it. You sit up and you just practice going from this movement to this movement. You know, any which way. Wait, let's try that one again. Oh, let's see. I like that. That's a really nice one. So, So now that is an interesting part of the blues that perhaps you'd never thought about playing those little changes at this little spot of the blues at the 7th and 8th bar. Never. But do you see how you can make your blues now filled with all this beautiful stuff that doesn't exist? And on top of that, if you're transcribing like Coleman Hawkins or Bird or Bud Powell or even Barry, you're going to hear them playing these little movements within there. Maybe sometimes it's a little different, but at least now you have a point of reference to. Because I remember when I was transcribing first, when I first started studying with Barry and I was transcribing something, I remember often I would say to myself, like, I don't understand where this note is coming from or what this is going. And then, of course, then I would try to compare it to G7, and then I'd say, oh, I guess he's playing the flat 9, the flat 7th, the raised 5. It wasn't any of that. It was, oh, he was thinking a D flat 7, or he was thinking a D flat minor. You see, that's what it was. So that's what the masters really can do. They really can play movement. I mean, like Coleman Hawkins said. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to really getting even deeper into a blues and seeing how much beauty there is as you go in deeper. Anyway, until next time, enjoy.